Greetings, scholars. Today's presentation is going to be on westward expansion. Moving on west. Now we're talking about the cowboys, Native Americans, buffalo, cattle ranches, kind of settling the unsettled territory in the United States. Let's look at the U.S. in 1860. It is the beginning of the Civil War. And now, post-Civil War, post-Reconstruction now, so we're not really too worried about the green and the red, because that problem's pretty much solved. We're going to be bringing our study to kind of these territories, these unorganized areas, these areas that aren't necessarily states yet, and how the mass population from the east and the huge movement out west. What causes these? Push and pull factors. Push factors are going to be something that pushes a population off of where they're currently living. Okay, so it's something to kind of drive them out of the area, push them away. Pull factors, on the other hand, are going to be something, an incentive to make somebody come to a new location, to pull somebody into a new location. And with this westward expansion now, post-Reconstruction westward expansion, we're talking, our push factors are going to be expensive farmland. Out east, there's the population is starting to boom a little bit, so the land is getting more and more expensive because there's only a set amount of land there. So it's getting more expensive, so that's going to push off the poorer people out west. If you're a failed entrepreneur, all right, a lot of people's businesses, they start them up, and if they fail, if they lose all their money, they're going to say, hey, you know what? Let's just go out west. We'll start all over again. Okay? So the idea of them failing is going to push them out. Ethnic and religious repression. Okay, this should kind of ring a bell again, because when we talk about the founding of our country, a lot of the people that migrated to the United States did so because of this ethnic and religious repression. Mormons, they initially start off out east, kind of get pushed out west further, kind of go to Illinois, and then there's actually a Mormon trail. They go all the way to Utah. African Americans, if you're an African American in Reconstruction South, you're not going to want to be there, because there are all these black codes, all these laws, the racism that's still abundant down there. So they're going to move out west as well, because they don't find that out there. As well as immigrants. Immigrants will find out, like, to use up the Homestead Act and settle on farming areas. And the last one is displaced people. And this one kind of goes along with kind of failed entrepreneurs. If you're poor, if you've struggled in life, you're going to be pushed kind of away from the east. Pull factors, the things that are going to pull people into the westward expansion. The first one we have, government incentives. Okay, the government really wants to settle that western territory. They really want to develop that kind of that gap between California, okay, the west coast, and the east coast, where all the population is. The first government incentive we have, the Pacific Railway Acts. These are multiple acts that were passed. And essentially what they do is they give huge land grants to railroads as an incentive to build these railroads to try to connect coast to coast. We'll talk about transcontinental railroad soon enough. They really take advantage of these railroad acts. The Morrill Land Grant Act, it gives states millions of western land so that if they can sell it, they kind of produce their own colleges. So there's this incentive for people to go out west to use this Land Grant Act and go to these agricultural schools so you can learn how to farm, learn how to be productive on a homestead. And the last one, this huge one, the Homestead Act. For a small fee, settlers receive 160 acres of land, and the requirements are they have to be 21, American citizens, they have to build a house and farm it for 5 years. So with the small filing fee, you get this 160 acres and you have to farm it for 5 years. Essentially giving the government just giving out pretty much free land. Thank you very much.